a retro gamer and hobbyist artist with a lot of nerve. Crowlister, the master of ponage. Hi guys, Crowlister here with a discussion video about Nintendo's next console. The Direct that we got on the 2nd of April revealed quite a lot about the new Nintendo console, the successor to the Switch, as it is clearly named, and there's good news and bad news to come from what we saw in the presentation and shortly after the presentation. So with that being said, I'm going to share my thoughts in the form of a GBU video, which means the good, the bad, and the ugly, featuring some of my Pokémon OCs from my DeviantArt account. So, enjoy. So, to start, let's go with the good. I got Mario in a go-kart for the picture, because the game that we obviously got first in the presentation, and was shown in partial in the initial announcement for the console, was, of course, the new Mario Kart game, which is actually called Mario Kart World. And it's an open-world racing game with a lot of new driving features, new vehicles, new characters, skins for every character that are unlocked with a burger power-up, it looks like. And the game looks beautiful and definitely very exciting, and like a game that could be like Minecraft, a game that's fun to just mess around with the free roam mode. We're gonna get to the pricing of the game in a moment, once we get to the bad points. Besides Mario Kart World, we also got Donkey Kong Bonanza, which is a new Donkey Kong game. And to tell you the truth, I'm not bothered about Donkey Kong's new design. I think the design looks alright, and I'm liking it more the more I look at it. So think what you will about what they did to Donkey Kong. There's also Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment, if you like the Hyrule Warriors games. And a sequel to Kirby Air Ride called Kirby Air Riders, which turned out to be the game proposal that Masahiro Sakurai was talking about. Unfortunately for everyone that was expecting Smash. Though it might be a little early for that. There are also a ton of third-party games, some of which that were and some of which that were not previously rumored, to come to the console. Like Street Fighter VI and Final Fantasy VII Remake, only to name a couple. And some of the games that were shown at the Game Awards last year as well. And then there are upgrade packs for Switch original games. The games that we know so far are getting an upgrade pack include Mario Party Jamboree, both Zelda Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, Kirby and the Forgotten Land, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, Pokémon Legends ZA, and some of the third-party games as well. These can go from enhancing the graphics and performance and adding performance mode or quality mode to adding actual new controls and even expansions, like Mario Party Jamboree having an expansion pack that uses the camera and the mouse controls, and the Zelda games having connectivity with a new smartphone app that displays useful information while playing. Kirby and the Forgotten Land will also have Star-Crossed World, which is an expansion pack exclusive to the upgrade pack. There's a bit of confusion regarding how the upgrade packs are going to work in terms of sales. Apparently, the Nintendo games are going to have the game cards with the upgrade pack and the data, while some third-party games will have just the Switch original game card and a download code to redeem to get the upgrade. So, take from that what you will. Still, a pretty decent setup of games for a first run. Just to name the ones that people will care about, anyway. Here's Joey Storm the Pikachu playing the game while chatting for this picture, discussing about the chat and camera features. I already talked about the mouse controls and how they were confirmed with a patent in a previous video, which is pretty neat. And another neat feature that they're adding is the chat function. The top of the console has a mic hole, and the mic hole is like the mic hole on my laptop. It picks up your voice better than game sound effects and surrounding audio that there may be. The redacted button on the right Joy-Con is a C button, and it is in fact for chat. You can press it to access it via shortcut, and it's also listed on the console's home menu, which is going to be almost exactly the same as it is on the Switch original. Not sure if they'll ever do themes. You can chat with other players while playing games, like Sony and Microsoft have been doing on their consoles. Nintendo Switch Online membership is required, and the camera is going to be sold separately. It's a USB port that plugs into the top of the console, and it can specifically pick up your body and your body only, and even be used for some games like the Mario Party Jamboree upgrade, in addition to chatting. Both the bottom and top USB ports on the console itself can be used as a USB charger while playing in handheld. And considering that the battery life might be the same as the initial run Switch original, it'll deplete faster than you can charge it while playing in handheld mode. So I'm just going to continue playing in docked mode, almost on command as I do with my current Switch. Still a neat feature nonetheless. Here's my most loyal OC, Orin, checking out the Switch's new Nintendo eShop to represent how the console is going to have better Wi-Fi. It'll apparently use Wi-Fi 6 instead of Wi-Fi 5, so the internet service should be significantly better. I'm sure we all know that the eShop on the Switch original is not great in terms of performance, and it takes a while to load pages, and occasionally fails to load every result if there's a lot of them. So yeah, they had demonstrations of this with the developer interviews after the Direct aired. One of the features is a Find Games for You feature, which will show a bunch of thumbnails and trailers for games that you might like based on your browsing history, if you're having trouble deciding what kind of game you might want to buy. They are also making improvements to the Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack retro apps. The Nintendo 64 app did not have some of the features that the other apps had, like the rewind, custom controls, and the ability to play the game with a screen filter effect. Well, on the new console, the Nintendo 64 app is going to have all of those features. There's also, of course, the Nintendo GameCube app, which will only be on the new console, and will require the expansion pack membership, that I'll be looking forward to trying out as well. The Soul Calibur game is one I'll probably play of any of them, because I never really cared for Zelda nor F-Zero, honestly. So, I'll just wait until they add some of the better games that are coming out later, and we can hope and pray that they add Super Smash Bros. Melee eventually. I'm sure a lot of us miss that game so much. Alright, let's move on to the bad. It's gonna be expensive. Severely expensive. As of this recording finalization, pre-orders are not available for the console. They were supposed to have gone live on Wednesday the 9th, and they were withheld due to Donald Trump's Liberation Tariffs that he's doing in response to other countries in the trade import deal committing tax fraud, notably China. Well, in a twist of fate, he announced more recently that the Liberation Tariffs are being withheld on every country except China, and this has shown light of hope for anybody that wants to get Nintendo's new hardware, because the Liberation Tariffs would have increased the price of the console by a lot, and the standalone set without Mario Kart World is supposed to be $450 plus tax, and with the game it'd be $500. If it were for if the Liberation Tariffs were to have gone into effect for real, instead of being withheld for 90 days, it'd probably be $600 or $570 plus tax, depending on where it came from, China or Vietnam. The Liberation Tariffs are on hold for 90 days, which goes into July, basically. And according to Nintendo, they have over 1 million consoles ready in advance in America, and they were apparently manufactured in Vietnam. So, we should be able to hopefully get the designated pre-order of 450. Mario Kart World being priced for $80, however, is intentional by Nintendo. According to Nintendo of America's president Doug Bowser, not to be mistaken for Bowser from Mario, he says that the quality of the games that they develop interprets their pricing, and they absolutely thought Mario Kart World was deserving of an $80 pricing, going above and beyond what they did with Tears of the Kingdom being $70. Yeah, Mario Kart is so successful that they decided to increase the price of that game a lot. And just think, Super Smash Bros. For the console will probably be $100. My personal guess. Then again, I'm just a pessimist. And of course, the accessories in later games for the console are also going to be quite costly. So I really need to find a job. I'm considering to sell commissions on DeviantArt and make money that way. So there's a possibility for me. Now we got the most pessimistic and grumpy of all of my OCs, a Dragon Knight tentatively named Goat. As in, he's the real GOAT. Because of its aggressive playstyle, to showcase the pessimist side. Hardcore gamers have no hope for the new console. What if they repeat the issue that the Switch Originals games had, where they were too easy or basically sold as an incomplete game that gets updates later? People did not like that. I already talked about that in the previous controversy video. What if the upgrade packs killed the chance of a new Super Smash Bros. Game, and they just make an upgrade pack for Smash Ultimate instead? I was going to talk more about that and touch upon the subject in a later video. I personally think it'll still happen, a new Smash, though it's definitely to speculate on. And not having Smash in Direct also means we can still speculate and request characters, while Kirby Air Riders is just being finished up. What if other issues like Joy-Con drift continue, which is far and away the most important one? Although Nintendo did mention that the analog sticks for the Joy-Cons and Pro Controllers are going to be different from the Switch original, they also confirmed that they will not be like the Golokit Hall joystick, which are completely anti-drift. So, Joy-Con drift does exist as a possibility still, unfortunately, and if it happens, I and a lot of others are going to be steaming furious. And Golokit Hall will have to make replacement analog sticks for their controllers as well. We can only hope that the analog sticks will be more like the GameCubes, Wii's, and Wii U's were, and be a bit more stable. So, here's hoping. What if the games prove to not be worth their ludicrous price, like Mario Kart World, for example? And I'm sure that game will be. It's just if they price every single game at $80 to $100, people are gonna whine, especially where Nintendo are concerned. Didn't Nintendo say they're courteous about their prices before? And keep in mind that even though this is a 4K kind of console that can produce games on it that the Switch original and other Nintendo consoles couldn't handle, that we got on the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series, there are some games on them, like Final Fantasy XVI, that are not planned for the console because it might be too much even for it to run. It is a Nintendo console, and Nintendo are not necessarily in it for the quality, just the fun. And now for the ugly. Here's Nicholas kicking Nick Cinderace with what's supposed to be a ring from Ring Fit Adventures to go along with the topic, what Switch original games will not be playable on the new console, as it was hinted in the initial announcement. My personal guess is that it's going to be the games that use the camera on the right Joy-Con on the Switch original, because the new Joy-Con doesn't seem to have that camera. And any game that uses the accessories that attach on the Joy-Con originals, like Ring Fit Adventures and Nintendo Labo. Those games and games that use those functions will not be playable or fully compatible with the new console. Kit and Krista even talked about this in their own videos, saying exactly what I just said. The drawback of being able to play 4K even while in handheld mode means a lower battery life. And according to statistics, the battery life in handheld will be like the Switch original's first run was, which is the exact kind of Switch that both of mine are. So, I can barely play in handheld mode for over a couple of hours. I always play in dock mode anyway, so that isn't a big deal to me. And it'll be the same for this as well. And there's a little bit of a scare regarding Nintendo allowing to do chat on their console with a camera after what happened with Swap Note, for example. Which is just silly to say, though still a topic to bring up nonetheless, because we know Nintendo are not going to have that. And remember, Nintendo strictened their policy after the release of Famicom Detective Club 3, Emio the Smiling Man. And if you make any gameplay videos showing, like, the real cutscenes and spoilers at the end of the game on one of their new games, you may get banned from YouTube, and your videos may get deleted. So in the event that I get, like, Mario Kart World or Pokemon Legends ZA, for example, I will not make any videos of them until, like, a month or later than that. And same with you people should. One more topic I'll touch upon with my Charizard OC, Damon, one of my most popular OCs, is the benefits of being a retro gamer like he and I are. Because most of my games that I have on my Switch are simple games like arcade games and stuff that take up less space, having eightfold the storage of the Switch original means I'll have more room for those games and some even bigger games. An important note is that while Samsung and SanDisk micro secure digital cards will be compatible with the new console, ones made for the Switch original are apparently not going to be, according to the Nintendo Direct. Like I said, I have a lot more retro games than Fancy Pants current gen games, so I'll be able to hold a lot more of them, which will be good for the new lineup of arcade archives for the new console exclusively, for more high-quality arcade games released in the 90s and onward, like Ridge Racer by Namco, which is going to be the first confirmed one of those. I hope that the Namco Classic Collections, which have the arrangement games, can come to this lineup as well. So, what do you guys think? You think the console's going to be exciting? Or are you disappointed enough with the features that you're just going to forget about it and save up for a new PlayStation or Xbox console? There are some people in both ends. I touch both the positives and negatives on subjects like this because I think that's the best method to be as good of a YouTuber as I possibly can be. And I'm very pessimistic, so I can hear what people are getting at with attacking Nintendo for their decisions with their previous consoles and this upcoming console. So, if you're a retro gamer like me and you buy a bunch of like arcade archives games or older games that get ported on the console, then it's not going to be so bad, I'd say. Especially if you're not like me and you're able to import your previous Nintendo account onto the console and recover your game library for free anyway. Unfortunately, my family had security issues, so I'm going to need to start a new Nintendo account on my console. And with the increased prices for the services and not having gold points anymore, recovering my entire game library is not going to be fun. So, alright, so that's it for the discussion. Consider subscribing if you like the franchises and topics that I have listed down here. I can do Pokemon, I can do Mega Man, I already have a lot of Namco arcade games from Arcade Archives and Namco Museum. I love Crash and Spyro, Smash of course. I make a lot of fan art. and will occasionally showcase some of it from DeviantArt on YouTube, and occasionally some other retro games from the apps that I might feel like playing as well. If you're interested, consider following me. So with that is going to wrap up this discussion video. I am Crowlister, Master of Ponage. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on my next upload.